I sent a flirty text to my boss by accident, then she showed up at my door at night. The moment I saw her message, my chest felt like it stopped working. I was sitting alone in my small apartment in Back Bay, one lamp on, laptop open, the sound of traffic drifting in through the cracked window. My phone buzzed once in my hand, and I looked down without thinking. That was when I saw it. "I'm coming over to your place now." It was from Madison, my boss. It was 10:08 p.m. on a Tuesday night. For a second, I honestly thought I was dreaming. My brain tried to fix the sentence into something normal, something safe. Maybe she meant tomorrow. Maybe she sent it to the wrong person. Maybe it was a joke. But no, it was real. And it was my fault. Because 10 minutes earlier, I had sent her the most flirty text of my entire life. By accident. My name is Ben. I'm 29. I've worked as a software developer at a mid-sized tech company in Boston for 6 years. I'm not exciting. I don't take big risks. I don't flirt at the office. I don't even speak, unless I have something useful to say. I show up, do my job, fix the bugs nobody else wants to deal with, and go home. My life is steady. Black coffee in the morning, quiet coding all day, old sci-fi shows at night, texting my best friend Brian about nonsense. It is simple, it is predictable, it is safe. Safe works for me. Or at least it did until 6 months ago. That was when Madison became our new head of engineering. She transferred from San Francisco, and when she walked into the office on her first day, the whole room felt different. She was 38, confident, calm, and sharp without being loud. Tall, dark hair pulled back neat and tight, eyes that stayed on you long enough to make you feel seen. She did not try to impress anyone. She did not raise her voice. She just spoke clearly about goals, direction, and expectations, like she had always been in charge. I told myself I respected her. That was true. But that was not the full truth. Every time she stopped at my desk and asked about my code, my pulse changed. Every time she said, "Good work, Ben," and meant it, something in my chest pulled tight. I never crossed a line. I never even hinted at anything. She was my boss. She was divorced. She had a kid back in California. She had a complicated life. And I had built my whole world around avoiding complications. The only person who knew about my quiet crush was Brian. We met in college. He is the opposite of me. Loud, bold, always pushing me to take risks. He thinks I am one brave decision away from a better life. That night, I was drained from work. A bug had taken all day to fix. My brain felt fried. I was sitting on my couch in gym shorts, one sock on, one sock half pulled off, when Brian texted me. "Any cute coworkers yet?" I rolled my eyes and typed back, kind of. But it's complicated. My new boss. Total no-go zone. He replied instantly like he had been waiting for this moment. "Dude, life is short. Test the waters. What's the worst that happens?" I should have ignored him. I should have gone to bed. Instead, I kept texting. Brian started sending me fake messages I could send her. Most were ridiculous. Too bold. Too embarrassing. I told him to calm down. Then he sent one that made my heart stop. "You're truly captivating. I know this might cross a line, but I'd regret not saying it. I hope you're not bothered." It was simple, honest. Not dirty, not desperate, just real. For a second, I imagined what it would feel like to send that, to say something true instead of hiding it. My chest tightened just reading it. I copied the message. I meant to paste it back into our chat so Brian could laugh about it. But my thumb moved too fast. I tapped the wrong thread. I tapped Madison. The message sent before my brain understood what I had done. Delivered. Then those small marks appeared that meant she saw it. My stomach dropped so hard I thought I might throw up. Heat rushed up my neck into my face. I sat up straight like that would undo it. "No," I whispered, staring at my phone like I could pull the message back through the screen. I started pacing my apartment. My tiny kitchenette looked messy. Takeout containers stacked near the sink. A worn couch. Exposed brick walls. A weak yellow lamp in the corner. I had never felt more exposed in my life. I tried to think of something to send. An apology. A joke. A lie. Nothing sounded right. Everything sounded worse. Then her reply came. "I'm coming over to your place now." I froze. My address was in the company directory. She could find it easily. She might already be on her way. My brain ran through every possible reason. She was angry. She was going to fire me. She wanted to handle it face to face. Maybe she was going to report me to HR. Then another thought crept in, quiet but powerful. What if she wasn't angry? A knock hit my door. Sharp. Certain. My heart slammed against my ribs. I stared at the door like it had turned into something alive. The knock came again, steady, confident. I walked toward it slowly. My hand hovered over the lock. For a moment, I almost pretended I was not home. But she already knew I was. I unlocked it. Madison stood in the hallway under the dim light. She held her phone in one hand and her dark coat over her arm. Her hair was loose, not pulled back like at work. A few strands brushed against her cheek. She did not look angry. She looked calm. That scared me more. "Ben," she said evenly, "let me in." My brain told me this was a bad idea. My body stepped aside anyway. She walked into my apartment slowly, taking in the space without saying anything. I closed the door behind her, and the sound of it clicking shut felt final. I turned toward her, words rushing out before I could stop them. "I'm so sorry. That text wasn't meant for you. I was talking to my friend. I sent it to the wrong person. I didn't mean to cross a line." "Stop," she said gently but firm, lifting her hand. The room went quiet. "I read the message," she said. "We both know what it said." She stepped closer, close enough that I could see the faint pink in her cheeks from the cold night air. Her eyes locked on mine and did not move. "You called me captivating," she said softly. "You said you would regret not saying it." My throat tightened. "Which is it, Ben?" My heart pounded so loud I was sure she could hear it. And in that moment, standing in my small apartment with my boss just a few feet away, I realized my safe life had just ended. My mouth felt dry, but I forced myself to answer her. "It's both," I said quietly. "I meant it, and I panicked." Madison did not look away. She stood in the middle of my apartment like she belonged there, calm and steady, but her eyes were searching my face. "I panicked because you are my boss," I continued. "Because I need this job. Because I don't ever want to make you uncomfortable." But the words weren't fake. The silence between us felt heavy, but it was not cold. It felt real. She walked past me and placed her coat over the back of my chair. Then she turned to face me again, folding her arms slowly like she was holding herself together. "I came here," she said, "because I couldn't sit in my apartment pretending I didn't feel something." My heart skipped. "You feel something?" She exhaled, a small breath like she had been holding it in for weeks. "I've been careful with you," she said. "Careful with everyone. I have a reputation to protect. I'm a woman, leading a department. I'm divorced. I already walk into rooms with people waiting to judge me." Her voice did not shake, but I could hear the truth inside it. "When your message came through," she continued, "for a second I wasn't head of engineering. I was just Madison, a person someone wanted." The way she said it made my chest ache. I had never thought of her like that. To me, she was always strong, always in control. I had not imagined how lonely that might feel. "I didn't mean to make things harder for you," I said softly. "I know," she replied. "That's why I'm here." She stepped closer. Not too close, but enough that I could feel the warmth of her. "You don't treat me like a prize," she said. "You don't flirt in meetings. You don't try to impress me. You just do your job, and when you look at me, it feels honest." My heart was racing, but I did not look away. "I don't know how to play games," I admitted. "I live the same safe day over and over because it's simple. I don't chase things that could fall apart." "And yet," she said softly, "you sent that message." "I didn't mean to send it," I said, almost smiling. "But I meant what it said." Her lips lifted slightly at that. Not a big smile, just enough to change the air. "What happens now?" I asked. Madison looked at me for a long moment. Then she straightened, her expression turning thoughtful. "We set rules," she said. "Real ones. Because I'm not risking my job, and I'm not risking yours." I nodded quickly. "Okay. Rule 1, she said. No personal texts during work hours. If we talk, it's about work. Agreed. Rule 2, we don't meet at the office outside of meetings. No lingering. No looks that people can read. My pulse climbed, but I nodded again. Okay. She hesitated for a second, then added, Rule 3. We don't do this halfway. The words landed heavy between us. What does that mean? I asked quietly. It means if this is just curiosity, we stop now, she said. But if it's real, we don't pretend. We move slow. We protect our careers, and we're honest. My chest felt tight, but not from fear, from something bigger. It's real, I said before I could overthink it, at least for me. Her eyes softened. For me too. The air shifted again. Something unspoken settled into place. It's late, she said gently. I should go. I walked her to the door. My mind was spinning, but my body felt steady for the first time since the text. At the threshold, she paused. Tomorrow, she said, I'll send you an address. After work, we talk somewhere neutral. We decide what this looks like. I swallowed. Okay. She studied my face like she was memorizing it. And Ben? Yeah. I meant what I said, too. Before I could respond, she stepped into the hallway. The door closed softly behind her, and I stood there staring at the empty space she left. The next day felt unreal. I barely slept. I walked into the office expecting everything to look different, but it didn't. People typed. Phones rang. Coffee machines hissed. Life went on. Madison was already in the conference room leading the morning meeting when I arrived. She looked exactly like she always did. Hair tied back. Blazer on. Calm voice. She did not look at me any differently. If anything, she was more professional than usual. It made me nervous in a new way. Around 4:30, my phone buzzed. An address in Cambridge. A small wine bar near the river. 6:15. No extra words. My stomach flipped. I told my team I had an appointment and left the building trying to look normal. The sky was fading into early evening gray as I crossed the bridge toward Cambridge. The air felt cool and sharp against my skin. The wine bar was quiet, dimly lit, with dark wood tables and soft music playing low. It smelled like oak and something sweet. I chose a table near the back where we could talk without anyone overhearing. I checked my phone twice, even though I knew the time. At exactly 6:15, the door opened. Madison stepped inside. She was not dressed like my boss. No blazer, no sharp lines. Her hair was down around her shoulders, and she wore a simple black sweater and jeans. She looked softer but still confident. When she saw me, her face changed just slightly. Not a smile yet, but something close. She walked over and sat across from me. "Hi," she said quietly. "Hi." I replied, hoping my voice would not shake. For a moment we just looked at each other. The noise of the bar faded into the background. "I want to do this the right way," she said, "if there is a right way." "I do too," I said. She studied me carefully. "You're still scared." "I am," I admitted, "because this could go wrong, because I don't want to hurt you, and I don't want to lose everything." Her gaze softened. "You care about that." "I care about you," I said, and the words came out before I could stop them. She looked down for a second like she needed to steady herself. Then she looked back at me. "I made a promise to myself after my divorce," she said. "No work relationships. No messy overlap. It nearly destroyed my career once." "So why me?" I asked quietly. She let out a small breath. "Because you don't chase me. You don't try to impress me. You make me feel safe." That word hit me hard. Safe was my whole life. Hearing her say it about me changed something inside my chest. We talked for nearly an hour. About her son Ethan. About how she video calls him every night. About how she feels like she's always leading, always holding everything together. I told her about my small life, about avoiding risks, about building walls so nothing can surprise me. She listened like it mattered. At some point, she leaned forward slightly. "Ben," she said softly, "I'm not asking for reckless. I'm asking you not to run." "I don't want to run," I said. Her eyes held mine. "There's chemistry here. My pulse jumped. I know. The air between us felt charged. I've wanted to kiss you since the first time you stood behind my chair, I admitted, my voice low. She inhaled slowly. Then why haven't you? Because I didn't think I was allowed. She stood up. Come outside. My heart started racing again as I followed her into the cool night air. The sidewalk was damp from earlier rain. The city lights reflected in small puddles. We walked a few steps away from the front door until we were near the river, in a quieter corner. She turned to face me, and for the first time, she looked nervous. If this ends badly, she said softly, I'll regret it. If we never try, I replied, I'll regret that more. She stepped closer. Her hand rested lightly against my chest, right over my heart. I knew she could feel how fast it was beating. Then she kissed me. It was slow and careful, not rushed, not wild, just real. When she pulled back, her forehead rested against mine. We can't do this at work, she whispered. I know. We can't give people a reason. I know. She stepped back, steadying herself. I want to see you again, she said. Not as your boss. As me. I want that too. As we stood there in the cool night air, I felt something shift inside me. My life had always been built on staying safe, but for the first time, I was stepping into something that felt bigger than safe, and I had no idea what it would cost. The next morning, everything felt sharper. The office lights seemed brighter. The sound of keyboards felt louder. Every glance felt like it lasted a second too long. Madison walked into the morning meeting, exactly like she always did. Blazer on, hair pulled back, calm voice. She led the discussion like nothing in her world had shifted. If someone had recorded us the night before by the river, no one would have guessed. But I felt it. Every time she spoke, I felt the memory of her lips against mine. Every time someone laughed, I wondered if they somehow knew. In the middle of the meeting, I noticed something that made my stomach tighten. A guy from product was watching me, not in a casual way, in a measuring way. When Madison asked me a question about a release timeline, his eyes flicked between us like he was checking for something. I answered normally, calm, professional, but inside my pulse was racing. After the meeting, Madison passed by my desk. She stopped just long enough to say, "Send me the updated spec by noon." Her tone was even, controlled, but her eyes held mine for one extra second. That single second felt louder than anything she could have said out loud. An hour later, a calendar invite popped up on my screen. Mandatory meeting. HR. My name. Madison Whitman's name. A representative from HR 2 p.m. My hands went cold. I stared at the invite until the letters blurred. This was it. Someone had noticed. Someone had reported it. We were done before we even started. I looked through the glass wall toward Madison's office. She was inside speaking with someone, calm and focused like always. She did not look surprised. She did not look afraid. That scared me more. At 2 p.m., I walked into the HR conference room feeling like I was heading to an execution. Madison was already seated at the table. She gave me a small nod when I sat down. Not romantic, not secret, just steady. Karen from HR walked in with a folder and closed the door behind her. "Thank you for coming," she said in that polite, controlled voice HR people use when something serious is about to happen. My throat felt tight. "We've received a concern about boundaries within the engineering department," Karen continued. "Nothing formal yet, but we address these things early." Madison did not flinch. Karen looked at both of us. "Is there a personal relationship here that creates a reporting conflict?" The silence felt endless. Then Madison spoke. Yes. She did not hesitate. She did not soften it. She just said it. My heart dropped, but at the same time, I felt something else. Relief. The secret was not hanging over us anymore. Karen nodded. "Thank you for being direct. Company policy requires that any relationship involving a reporting line be resolved. The solution is structural, not punitive." Structural, not punitive. The words settled into my chest. Madison looked at me briefly. It was not a question. It was partnership. I'm willing to transfer, I said quickly. Same level. Different reporting chain. Madison's expression softened for half a second. Karen flipped through her folder. We have an opening at the Cambridge satellite office on the platform team. Senior developer role. Same compensation. Immediate transfer removes the conflict. Cambridge. Different office. Different team. It was not what I expected my week to look like. But it was not disaster. We'll document that Madison will have no involvement in Ben's evaluations or compensation, Karen said. This protects everyone. Madison nodded. That's appropriate. Quote, the meeting ended in less than 20 minutes. When we stepped into the hallway, we walked side by side in silence until we reached a quiet corner. You knew, I said quietly. I scheduled it, she replied. I blinked. You what? After last night, I wasn't going to let rumors control this, she said. If we were going to do this, we were going to do it clean. I stared at her. The courage of it hit me all at once. She had risked her authority, her reputation, her comfort, all before anyone else could whisper about it. Are you okay with the transfer? She asked softly. It's better than losing you, I said before I could stop myself. Her eyes warmed. Good, because I'm not losing you. The next 2 weeks were strange. Some coworkers acted normal. Some suddenly found excuses to stop by my desk. I caught pieces of my name floating through conversations that stopped when I entered the room. I kept my head down, did my work, stayed professional. Madison stayed flawless. Meetings, deadlines, decisions. If anyone doubted her leadership, they kept it to themselves. On my last day in the Boston office, she sent me a single message after work. Proud of you. That was it. But I sat on a bench outside the building, staring at those 3 words until my eyes stung. Cambridge felt different from day one. Smaller office. Quieter energy. My new manager treated me like a fresh asset, not a rumor. The work challenged me in a way that felt exciting instead of draining. For the first time in years, my life felt like it was expanding. Madison and I found our rhythm. Weekends, evenings, walks by the Charles River, cooking simple dinners at her place, watching movies on my couch. Nothing flashy, nothing reckless, just real. One Friday night, she came over looking exhausted. She dropped her bag near the door and sank into my couch with a long breath. Hard week? I asked. All week I was Madison the boss, she said. I just want to be Madison for a while. I sat beside her and took her hand. Then be her. She leaned into me, resting her head against my shoulder. Ben, she said softly, I need to tell you something. My stomach tightened. Okay. Quote, my son is visiting next month, Ethan. The name made everything feel heavier and more real. I want you to meet him. I swallowed. Meeting her son was not casual. It was not dating for fun. It meant she was weaving me into her real life. You don't have to, she added quickly. I won't pressure you. I want to, I said. I'm just nervous. She smiled gently. So am I. When Ethan arrived a few weeks later, I felt the same nervous energy I had felt the night Madison knocked on my door. He was smaller than I imagined. Curly hair, sharp eyes, quiet at first. Hi, I said carefully. I'm Ben. He shrugged. Mom says you build stuff on computers. I do, I said. Do you like games? His eyes lit up. That was all it took. We talked about games, robots, why his tablet kept freezing. I showed him a simple fix, and he looked at me like I had performed magic. Later that night, after he went to bed, Madison stood in her kitchen, with her hand over her mouth. He likes you, she whispered. I like him too, I said honestly. She stepped close and rested her forehead against mine. This started with a mistake, she said softly, but it doesn't feel like one anymore. It doesn't, I agreed. For the first time in my life, I was not building walls. I was building something real. And I finally understood that safe was not about avoiding risk. Safe was about choosing the right person to take the risk with. A few months later, I was sitting on my couch again, phone in my hand, staring at a message I was about to send. Same apartment. Same brick walls. Same old lamp glowing in the corner. But I wasn't the same. My thumb hovered over the screen for a second. Then I typed without shaking. "You're captivating. I meant it then. I mean it now." This time it wasn't an accident. This time I pressed send on purpose. Her reply came almost instantly. "I'm coming over to your place now." When the knock came, it didn't feel sharp or terrifying like the first time. It felt familiar, steady, wanted. I opened the door, and Madison stood there smiling like she had stepped into a life that finally fit her. No coat folded over her arm. No guarded expression. Just her. I pulled her inside before I could overthink it. She laughed softly, wrapping her arms around my neck. "You didn't panic this time," she said against my shoulder. "No," I replied. "I don't want to live like that anymore." She pulled back just enough to look at me. "You've changed." "I had to," I said. "You don't get something real without stepping into the unknown." She studied my face like she did the first night in my apartment. Only now there was no tension, no walls, just warmth. We settled onto the couch together, her legs tucked under mine, her head resting against my chest. The city outside felt distant. The world felt quiet. "Ethan asked about you today," she said softly. My chest tightened, but in a good way. "What did he say?" "He asked if you're coming to his robotics fair next month." The old version of me would have felt panic, responsibility, fear of failing. Now I just smiled. "Tell him I wouldn't miss it." Madison tilted her head up, searching my face. "You're sure?" Quote. "I'm sure," I said. "I don't want to stand outside your life anymore." Her eyes filled with something deeper than happiness, something steady. "Ben," she said quietly, "this isn't easy. There will still be looks at work. There will still be rumors. There will be hard weeks." "I know," I said, "but none of that scares me like losing you would." She kissed me then, not careful like the first time, not hesitant, certain, confident. Like we both understood what we were choosing. Months passed. Cambridge became my new routine. I grew into the role faster than I expected. My new team respected me. My name was attached to projects that mattered. I stopped feeling like the quiet guy in the corner. Madison and I built something steady. We didn't rush. We didn't hide, but we didn't invite attention either. Work stayed professional. Home stayed ours. One afternoon, I was walking out of the Cambridge office when my phone buzzed. It was Brian. "So, was it worth almost losing your job?" I smiled and typed back. "I didn't lose it. I found something better." That night, I went to Madison's place. Ethan was at the kitchen table working on a small robot kit. He looked up when I walked in. "Hey," he said casually, "you're late." "I know," I said, setting my bag down. "But I brought snacks." He grinned. "Mom, he's okay." Madison laughed from the stove, and the sound filled the room in a way that made it feel like home. Later, after Ethan went to bed, Madison and I stood by the window looking out over the city lights. "If you could go back," she asked quietly, "and stop yourself from sending that message, would you?" I thought about the panic, the HR meeting, the transfer, the fear. Then I thought about this moment, her hand in mine. Her son asleep down the hall. A future that felt open instead of small. "No," I said. I'd send it again. She turned toward me slowly, even knowing what it would cost. "It didn't cost me," I said. "It grew me." She smiled, and there was no doubt in it anymore. That first night when she knocked on my door, I thought my life was about to fall apart. I thought one mistake was going to destroy everything safe I had built. But what I didn't understand back then was this. Sometimes the text you send by accident is the truth you were too afraid to admit. Sometimes the knock at your door isn't the end of your stability. It's the beginning of your real life. And when Madison kissed me that night by the river, I thought I was risking everything. Now I know I was finally choosing something worth building.